So I come from like and I'm still kind of I come from manufacturing background, and then family office. My brother and my dad kind of we all kind of run several businesses under a family company. So so using that experience in multifamily was uh, financials and analyzing financials, analyzing P&Ls and forecasts and cash flows and all that kind of stuff is one side of things that I'm very familiar with. We've purchased and sold companies before too, so um, that's all familiar. But when you look at it from a multifamily perspective, there's a lot more intricacies uh, that it took a long time to look took a long time to learn in my other businesses, which I didn't have the experience in multifamily, and this kind of helped me understand some of those things and better equipped to make some of these investments. And then also have I work with 9 other guys that are awesome in our company called Summit Family or Summit Financial, and they come from a multifamily background as well. 2 or 3 of those guys have a lot of multifamily properties across Houston, at least the South, and um, and they brought a lot of sophistication and some understanding to the analysis side of things. But I believe even after taking this class, I was able to add value even to them. So that was something awesome that I kind of saw through this course. Summit Capital is kind of what I is kind of our investment vehicle, investment arm, and we've got into multifamily and a couple other different types of investments, some passive, some a little bit more operational. Um, we've looked at several different multifamily projects, and with Triarch, we've really been able to understand what some of the level of sophistication that is behind some of these multifamily projects, because everybody can paint a really good picture and produce really good artwork and flyers and all that stuff. As a dime a dozen. But to actually find out if the work behind it is being done, especially as a passive investor, as a new investor into multifamily, um, you know, we had some concerns about like, hey, are we partnering up with the right people? Um, which we feel we were most of the time, but there was a couple of new projects that we came across that were new investors, new I guess new projects that your program really helped us kind of understand should we or should we not, or how much sophistication is behind the financials and all that kind of stuff. So that was really helpful on our end. So okay, passive investing was before this course was more people that we knew that had prior experience and kind of putting some faith behind that, looking at the numbers, but not really understanding the detail and analysis that we've learned throughout this course has been completely a game changer versus before looking at it from like a business perspective or a financial um, you know uh, just the numbers kind of perspective and seeing, hey, does everything kind of line up from a regular business investment type of standpoint, looking at balance sheets and income statements and stuff like that and projections and all that kind of stuff was you know it was more of a basic investment, like looking at some of the assets that we're kind of used to investing in. We're looking at it from that perspective and not really looking at it from a perspective of multifamily and the different facets of multifamily and how some of these numbers are derived, and how to kind of go back and with this course, we were able to kind of backtrack a lot of the numbers and see, hey, did they just use a factor and multiply it across the board over year, or was it actually thought out? And was it, how did they approach their financials, right? And was it done sloppy? Was it done sloppy, or was it actually, you know, um, you know, uh, done with, over? And you can really tell, like, was it done like month over month growth, or did they just put a growth figure and just turn it year over year, right? Yeah. So some of those shortcuts, right? And then you kind of get an idea like, hey, if they took a shortcut here, then where else did they take shortcuts, right? That they didn't build out their financial models properly, completely, and then truncated into monthly numbers, and then that's a different story versus just starting from monthly numbers. So a lot of that stuff kind of helped us understand who we were dealing with and how much effort they had put into this part of the project, whether getting funds versus later on down the line where they're actually operating these businesses, right? So uh, those were really good, insightful things. And some of our traditional investors, we did find that hey, they had put in a lot of that effort. A lot of the bigger players in the multifamily space in Houston, and some of the national ones are putting in some of the time, but a lot of everybody's doing multifamily, right? Every time you turn around, there's a multifamily project, so it's really important to have this type of information and really understand who you're dealing with because everybody can say they have a lot of experience and everybody can add a board member or an investor that has experience, but how much are they actually putting into the project and how accurate are the financials, and at the end of the day it's the bottom line, how accurate are those ROIs, will this project make money or won't it make money, and all that kind of stuff is really important. And because everybody also has other places where they could put the money and hey, what's the opportunity cost of putting it into a project here and only grow at 8%, where else I could have made 20 somewhere else. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna learn one or two things, and I'll be able to apply it. But it was so detailed, and like he had, you can really tell that this is something that he's passionate about. He uses in his daily life, and it took a long time for him to kind of build this out, and he really thought about the course and how he approached every subject and every topic, and how he kind of organized it from one day to day two, day three. Um, it, my expectations were not that high, so he definitely blew that out the water. I've told my summit group that hey, we're gonna have to have a couple of our other people in our group to go back and take this course because whatever I didn't absorb, I want somebody else to absorb, and we can definitely you know I see that there's definitely a lot of value in this, right? If you're investing in multifamily, you should know what you're doing and you should always be learning, constantly learning. And if you want to learn, a lot in a short period of time and have somebody like Joseph who's accessible to you if you have any questions. And Joseph has also said that, hey, if you guys need anything in the future, whatever you're going through projects, send it to me and I'll look at it for you as well, right? So that's kind of invaluable, especially when you have a lot of money on the line and you're a passive investor, right? So it was definitely there's definitely a lot of value in this course. From the way I understand how Joseph has set up this whole course that he's since we were beta testing, a lot of the meat, I guess, in this course, but we didn't. The way he's kind of explained it is like he's built in a lot of quizzes and a lot of other things to not only teach you the material, but to make sure you really understood it and you kind of really digest it, and now you can regurgitate it and kind of say, hey, this is right and wrong, right? So it kind of takes it one step above just being a course, right? Just kind of like a passive listening course where you can take anywhere and just listen to at your leisure. It kind of takes it a step further and make sure that you actually learn the concepts and then you can actually apply the concepts correctly. And it's kind of like, built in and ingrained into you, right? So you're going to use that from today's investment to tomorrow's investment. And it's not like a short term thing where, hey, I just learned it today and tomorrow I'm going to forget. And the day after, it's something else, right? Another flavor of the month. So this was really good that he really focused on, hey, that aspect of like learning and being able to really understand the, what he's really trying to teach and his theories behind all of his, evaluation methods and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, passive investing is pretty it's similar to before, but there is a level of like a little. There's definitely a lot higher level of understanding and being able to break down these financials that I'm looking at. ask some of the right questions, because it's not all about financials. He even talks about what questions to ask, when to ask them, and it's a lot more deeper than just what you see on paper, and like, hey, what things you should be expecting, and a lot of the other stuff that I really didn't expect that I was gonna go through in this course. But it was really good that he, I could sit down and say, hey, during my first meeting with somebody that's presenting an investment opportunity, if they're not touching on these points, then I need to bring them up. And if they're not answering those properly, then there's some red flags there, right? So he really went deep into like, hey, this is what your investor should be talking to you about. If they aren't, these are the questions you're gonna ask. So that's really helped us a lot in terms of evaluating some of our deals and evaluating. And at the end of the day, I'm evaluating the person that's bringing the deal, right? It's not so much the deal on paper, but it's also evaluating the capabilities of the person that's bringing it, and that's kind of really helped us. So we've passed passive investments in multifamily. I think we've passed on 3 deals, and we're vetting 2 deals, and 1 deal we're gonna is very close to actually coming to fruition. 3 that we kind of took off the plate right off the bat because some of the information that that we've learned throughout the course, and 1 deal is kind of still going through that due diligence period, and 1 deal we're moving forward with, and so it's been good. It's definitely paid for itself already. Quickly going through those 3 deals and taking them off the table saves me a lot of time, and that's more valuable than anything else, right? Deals are everywhere, right? There's no shortage of people asking for money to promise you back a little more money. That's just the truth, right? And the economy, everything's growing, right? Like um, housing rates, everything's through the roof, so there's no shortage of builders and people are entering the market. To be able to actually go through a deal and vet it really quickly and take it off my table rather than spending months and going through meetings and presentations, and uh, is invaluable. I guess the thing I was surprised the most about this course was, excuse me, the the level of like detail and that Joseph has kind of put into this program. You can really tell that he's really thought everything through, and it was really from an investor perspective, told by an investor, right? Or it wasn't like somebody wrote this course like sneaking in and looking into this industry and kind of writing the course. It was like, hey, I've been through this many deals and I'm still going through this many deals, and this is what it is. You can really tell that, hey, it's not like he wrote something like 5 years ago or 3 years ago and it's just he's just reselling it and updating a little, right? You can tell it's made now. It's dealing with stuff that we're dealing with right now, and also just the fact that he has the back end of things where he's actually going in and quizzing you and making sure that, hey, you're really understanding this information. It's just not like, hey, one way knowledge coming towards you. It's like, hey, can you reciprocate that information and tell me exactly and show me that you've learned it, and then you move forward, right? So that is something awesome that I don't think anyone's doing, which is really which is something that was invaluable for me. Anybody that's investing passively into multifamily should know what they're doing. Like, hey, and know more, right? Whatever you might have known before, you can always learn something. I guarantee anyone that takes this course will say that, hey, I picked up valuable nuggets that saved me money, right? That I don't think that's and I know people that have done multifamily investing for a long time and kind of said the same thing when we went through when I brought up some of these points, and like, how did you know that? And I was like, hey, I took this course. And like, and these guys know what they're doing and do this on a daily basis. But I was able to give them a little bit, a few nuggets, and and they were really impressed. And like, I wasn't trying to impress anybody. That wasn't my intention. It was just like, hey, this information was taught to me, and I understand it, I know it, and that's why I'm kind of going through it. And so I'm a firm believer. Anybody that's investing passively and has invested passively, that wants to continuously learn and make better deals and decisions should take a course. It's not that expensive, and it's not, and it's just a little bit of your time. I believe it's we knocked it out in like 5 weeks or something, 4 or 5 weeks, and and it was set where it's not overwhelming. It's like a couple hours, 2 or 3 times a week, and you can knock it out, and yeah, you can knock it out and go, and it was. I think it's invaluable, and anyone that wants to continuously make money and continuously learn and grow should take a class and continue, any class, right? They should continuously learn. So, I mean, strap in. I mean, as long as you're you're open and willing to learn the material, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Everything is explainable. Joseph does a really good job kind of telling you exactly why, like the theory behind it, and why he kind of uses some of the stuff. And it's not like textbook theory and stuff like that. It's like, hey, practical use. I did this. This happened. When I didn't do this, this happened. And hey, I learned this after this mistake. So you don't want to make the same mistakes that he's made or anyone else made, and you want to kind of start up a level higher than you can be without knowing anything. So, or knowing whatever information you've got so far. So yeah, definitely take this class, and help yourself, and save yourself some money and make some more money out with it. And don't get into some bad deals, and find the best deals out there, because the best deals are out there and the bad deals are out there, and it's kind of sometimes it's convoluted and you can't tell what is what. So this at least gets you to weed out a lot of the bad deals, and gets you to know a lot of the better deals, and helps you make money, and save some heartache and trouble in the long run. So no, everything else is good, man. I'm looking forward to getting in that first deal with you guys, and yeah, and signing up for this. I think I might be a little late for that deadline for the thing, but I'm signing up for your full course. I want to go back and do the full course with the quizzes and all that.